Hello again, everybody. I'm back again trying out a new setup here. I've found that doing some of the stuff on the computer can be difficult and inhibits me from making more videos. So in order to make them faster and easier, I'll just do this with drawing. This means all the lines and circles may not be perfect in every single bit, but hopefully the explanations will be just enough for you to understand what we're talking about. So today I wanted to start with the Harmonic Pentatonic Family and explain how you can incorporate this into your playing. But before we do that, we need to start with just the pentatonic family. There we are. So that's the pentatonic scale family. We're obviously starting from our major pentatonic here. We've got 2, 3, intervals 5 and 6 down here. Now I can rotate this. Now by rotating it, I'm now in the minor pentatonic, and we've got 1, flat 3, 4, 5, and flat 7 over there. So if this particular interval alignment of our pentatonic scale family and how minor and major relate is not making a lot of sense to you, please go watch my video on modes of the pentatonic scale family first before coming back to this one. Then at least you'll understand these 5 modes and how to do modes if that's something you've never done before. But we will be sure that your understanding of the pentatonic family will be sufficient for the stuff we cover in this video. So firstly, I've rotated it from major to minor, and the reason that we've done that is because today we're going to talk about the harmonic pentatonic family. This is based off of harmonic minor. So in order to generate our pentatonic family, I think it's easier to look at it starting in minor. That would normally be our 6th position in the major key, or our 1st position in the minor key. Since we're going to be thinking of harmonic minor and in the future melodic minor, it's easier to just start on the minor being our 1 here. Later on, we may assign certain note names to these. Right now, it's not that important. I would rather people view scales as a series of intervals than be worried about the note names of particular ones. If you know the intervals, you can always figure out the names afterward. And if you do it enough, you'll slowly begin to memorize all of the note names for certain scales. And then if you don't remember them, you'll be able to figure them out anyway. So the one thing we know that makes the harmonic pentatonic family differ from just the regular minor scale family is that the flat 7 is actually a natural 7. Everything else stays the same. So in order to generate this, I will, boop, there we are. The harmonic, we just moved that little one over there, and that is the harmonic pentatonic family. So in sticking with the other modes of the pentatonic scale video that I've made, let's go ahead and write out each of the modes of the harmonic pentatonic family. Now I probably will not give them names in this instance. The only names that I find generated for these are very strange and don't mean a whole lot to me. They're other modal names. I'll give them a name based on maybe the major chord that they create. It's actually better to think about sets of intervals as chords, because then you can actually use them actively over certain chords as they come up, rather than having some name that is just a Pokemon name that has nothing to do with the intervals of the scale. So here I've got modes 1 through 5 written down just because we're not giving them names. Our first mode is just the harmonic pentatonic scale. It gives us 1, flat 3, 4, 5, and 7. And then we want to think, what chord does this equal here? We've got a root, a minor 3rd, and a 5th, so we know we got a minor triad. We have a 7, so a minor major 7 chord with an 11 or a 4th on it. For the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to put minor major 7. We'll leave the 4th off. Sometimes the extensions are just extra information. Now let's go to our next mode. Oh, what do you know? The one that was based on the major pentatonic, but now has this weirdness going on over here with it. So let's write these down. 1, 2, 3, flat 6, and 6. Now, because we have 6 written twice, we'd actually probably call this one sharp 5, but since there's no real rules about dissonant scales like this, you can think of it either way. Now we've got 1, 3, sharp 5, so that's an augmented chord. The 2 and the 6, I'm not as concerned with including in here, but let's just put this as an augmented. Now let's do the next one, the next rotation. Now this rotation gives us 1, 2, sharp 4. I chose that because I already have a 5 here. So sharp 4, 5, and flat 7. We have no thirds, so we can't really call it a major or minor tonality. We have a root, a fifth, a flat 7. If this were just 1, 2, 5, flat 7, I would say we could accompany a minor 7th chord. But the sharp 4 may be dissonant on that minor 7th chord. So this might be more of an altered dominant sound. Altered dominant, or more specifically, let's say 7, sharp 11, or instead of 7 says 9. Now let's rotate it again. All right, mode 4 gives us 1, 3, 4, again, that flat 6 and 6. So I'm actually back here again, making a quick retraction. I noticed that when I talked about mode 4 in the last one, I actually wrote 6. I misread my own graph here. So I guess it just shows we can all make mistakes. But that is definitely a flat 7, not a 6. So let's change that around. And now that doesn't necessarily change my augmented chord idea. There technically could be an augmented chord in here with a flat 7, but it makes me see something more important. This particular mode of the harmonic minor is actually probably the second most useful because it is derived from the 5th mode of harmonic minor, or Phrygian dominant. It will get used for altered doms a lot as well. So let me just write that in as well here, altered dom. Again, we can see the root, major third, and the flat 7, which are helping us to make a sort of shell chord of a dominant sound. And then we could have the 4 or 11, or we could have a sharp 5, flat 13, however you want to think of that. Let me write those chords down real quick. So there we have a 7 sharp 5, 7 flat 13 to the same chord, or dominant 11, which could also be another possibility. One last thing before we get back to the original video that was interesting for me to notice here was that both mode 3 and 4 could be useful for altered dominant scenarios, but just with different extensions in them. All right, back to the original video. All right, and last rotation. And last rotation brings us 1, flat 2, 3, ooh, hard to say there. Sharp 4, flat 5, one of those two, and then flat 6 or sharp 5, one of those two. So in choosing these, I look and I see I've got my root and my major third. Since a major third being paired with a flat 5 doesn't give me one of the 4 primary triads, those being major, minor, diminished, or augmented, I'm instead going to look at this as 1, 3, sharp 5, and I'm going to leave this as sharp 4. So we end up again with another augmented chord, this time with a flat 2 and a sharp 4. Okay, we'll rotate it back to the start just so we can see where we came from again. And there's the Harmonic Pentatonic Family. And then because this channel is often a guitar-based channel, or at least my primary instrument is guitar, I thought we'd go ahead and look at these 5 modes or positions, forms, whatever word you want to use vocabulary-wise. We'd go ahead and look at those on a fretboard. So here we've got all 5 modes laid out. We can see some pretty strange patterns in some of these, but we should be able to see every single pentatonic family position just with one moved. So up here we can see how this is essentially just minor pentatonic with one change there, and then one change right there, and everything else is the same. So this isn't as difficult to memorize as you might think it is. If you already know all 5 forms of your pentatonic scale family, it'll just be altering one mode. And I'll include a picture of that in the description below too. All right, thanks guys. It's been a pleasure. Next time we'll probably go over melodic minor pentatonics, those get a little bit trickier to figure out because actually this pentatonic scale family would be the same one we would use for the melodic scale family. But so now we need to actually generate our own unique pentatonic family in order to display the uniqueness of that natural six in the melodic minor. But we'll get into that next time. All right, till then.